is nicknamed the Martian from a young kid. And all of a sudden, he comes up and doesn't have this rookie year where he hits 40 home runs and has 100 RBIs, and people think that he's a bust.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. He's Brian McKeon. We host Locked On Yankees together. It's our second full season as a team, and we've seen a lot in these last 2 years, huh?
Other teams are playing baseball still, and yet it feels like we're in the dead of the offseason.
Yes. It does feel that way. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app, so download the app today. On today's show, some baseball news happened. The Angels have a new manager, and I don't think anyone predicted this happening, so we're going to talk about that. In segment 2, we're going to discuss whether or not we think the Yankees should maybe shop Luis Gil. Is this the time to do it? It probably was the time to do it already, but we'll talk about it anyway. And let's start the show with this. This was an odd season for Jasson Dominguez, right?
Yeah.
They have him move to left field. They have him work out in left field. He has a little bit of trouble. He wasn't egregiously bad, but there were some bad routes. And there were things happening. He didn't hit the way they wanted him to. He had some good performances. He had that 3 home run game against Oakland, and there were some, the walk-off home run, and there were glimpses of what could be to come for Jasson Dominguez. But it was a very odd season for him. So we're going to try and figure out what the future holds for Jasson Dominguez, young Jasson Dominguez. Let's reiterate that because he's still very young.
Yeah, I think, it's funny. If Jasson Dominguez came up as just a highly touted prospect, and this was his rookie year, I think we'd all be fine with what he contributed. Mm-hmm. We would. But instead, he is the highest paid international player of all time with a $5.2 million signing bonus to come over. He's highly touted really since the age of 16 years old through the Yankee farm system.
Yeah.
By the time he gets to high A, just flies through the minor leagues, gets to the major leagues at age 20, has that really good week and a half stretch until he gets hurt, where he's hitting home runs all the time, is nicknamed the Martian from a young kid. And all of a sudden, he comes up and doesn't have this rookie year where he hits 40 home runs and has 100 RBIs, and people think that he's a bust.
Right.
And I don't know if that's totally fair to, well, I do know it's not totally fair to Jasson Dominguez. I don't think, now listen, he wasn't a perfect player by any means. And I don't necessarily think he was the superstar we all thought he was going to be either. But if Jasson Dominguez is where his projections sit, which we're going to go over in a little bit, I promise you guys you'll be fine with his career. Not every player that comes up can be a superstar. And think of all the players we've seen in the last decade plus that were touted as superstars that didn't remotely live up to even being a full-time major league player.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's fair to sit here and call Jasson Dominguez a bust yet. There's plenty of time to improve. There's plenty of time that he can and will mold into the player that he's going to become. But there were a lot of reports out there. And here's the thing, first of all. You're going to see a lot of fake stuff out there, of course, throughout the offseason. And I'm sure a lot of rumors of should they trade this guy? Should they trade this guy? I just want to come out forward and say, I don't think they should touch Jasson Dominguez. Leave him alone. Let him marinate a little more. Let him figure out his career a little more at the major league level and see what he can become as a player. But people are going to start saying that. So we do have to remember when we talk about any trade talks this offseason, we'll talk about it in segment 2, and we'll have a lot more topics throughout the offseason on who they can potentially move, who they will potentially move. That'll all be covered. What we have to remember, Stacey, is they are in a compete now mode as a franchise. Aaron Judge is getting older. Garrett Cole is getting older. Rodon and Fried are in their 30s. There's plenty of guys that are in their 30s and this team is a team that's trying to win right now. So you don't really have a lot of time to help guys develop and deal with growing pains from certain players in the lineup every day if you're trying to win a World Series today. It's very hard to develop a player that's in your everyday lineup and compete for a World Series at the same exact time. It doesn't usually work out that way for most teams.
Yeah. That's very true. I agree with you. I think, because we spoke about this on Tuesday's show, letting these guys marinate. And because he came up in such a spectacular way, I mean, he hit a home run in his first at bat off Justin Verlander in Houston.
Which doesn't help.
Right. Like,
it's exciting when it happens, but it doesn't help for his future.
Right. And like you said, he was on a tear until they found out that he tore his UCL, and that ruined everything. And he was gone for a while and came back. And, he could still be coming back from that as well. But as I said on the show the other day, when we were talking about Dominguez, I think that they should accept the fact that he's better from the left side of the plate, and that they should just keep him there. But they should also give him a chance to be in the lineup, and even when someone is the other way. When someone's a lefty.
There were great points made by a lot of media pundits over the last couple of days that Jasson Dominguez in winter ball this year should be just told, the manager, whoever his manager is, should be told by the Yankees he plays especially against lefties.
Yes.
We want him batting against lefties.
Get those reps against lefties, because, I mean, they trot Anthony Volpe out there against every handed pitcher that there is out there, and they let him get away with it.
He's not good against lefties or righties. So,
right. So let him cook, for the love of God.
Here's the thing. If you want to make a decision ultimately, if that's a word, great broadcasting skills by me. If you want to make a decision for the Yankees on Jasson Dominguez, you have to make it. And you have to make it now because of the ages of their superstars. Plus, you have Spencer Jones in the wings. You have Trent Grisham and Cody Bellinger that are both free agents. You have to decide what you're going to do with this guy. Is he a full-time player or not? Because you're not developing Jasson Dominguez, the Martian, the guy that you paid all this money for, to become a bench player. Right. That's not the point. So he's either going to play full-time next year, and you're going to sign Grisham or Bellinger, or you're going to move Spencer Jones. You have to figure out what you're doing with this team. You can't just have a bunch of outfielders developing throughout the entire team and not knowing who to play on what day. Right now, they have too many players that are at major league levels for the positions they're trying to fill. Right. And you can't depend on injuries to fill those roles. Let's just also, like you said, to the youth. He's going to be 23 on opening day next year.
Wow.
He's going to just turn 23. So he's still a very, very, very young player that may not come into his own yet. His rookie year, he had a .5 WAR, a .257 batting average, which, again, to most of you might not sound too impressive, but try and keep in mind that's .257 in today's era.
Right.
Where that's a pretty good hitter nowadays. Whereas, so that is a thing too. 10 homers, 47 RBIs, 23 stolen bases, a .331 on base percentage, a .719 OPS, which is right about average in the league. He only struck out 115 times, which is impressive for a player, the kind of free swinger, especially a rookie that he is. Right. Most rookies don't strike out a lot more than that if they're the kind of player that he is. Let's also not ignore the base running that he has, the speed that is in his game. Like this guy, he's projected to have a lot more power, and I think once he kind of sees more pitches and gets a lot more confidence, the power will start to show a little more. But Stacey, having the speed that he has on the base paths, you don't see a lot of guys. He has serious potential to be a 30-30 guy for sure.
Well, he has the ability to change a game as well.
Yes.
Just by getting on base, because he can steal 2 bases if you need him to, or he can score from first if you need him to, because he runs so fast, depending on where the ball's hit. But if the guy hits a double, it's almost guaranteed that Dominguez is going to score on it.
And let's also keep in mind, too, this is his first full year back from a fully torn UCL, which is a big deal, too, because he spent most of 2024 going through rehab. He came back at the bitter end of last year for a cup of coffee with the Yankees, then is a full-time player the next year. So that first full year back from a really serious injury like that at 21 years old is a hard thing for a player, both mentally and physically, to develop the confidence to swing fully and to play recklessly like he should be able to do at his age. So there is that aspect of it too. I just want to ask though, if he's not this highly touted prospect, if they don't spend a record $5.2 million of international bonus pool money on him, if they don't spend all of their international bonus pool money in a single offseason on him, and if he's not nicknamed the Martian, are we upset with that rookie year?
No.
Not at all. We're actually quite thrilled with it. If Anthony Volpe gave you that in his rookie year, we'd be like, oh, that could be a really promising career. Right. That's what kind of bothers me, is I feel like we all have this expectation of him coming up and being this superstar, And why would we expect that out of him?
Right. I think that it's not the same as Ben Rice, because Ben Rice was really like up and down last year, meaning 2024.
Yeah.
But he got that playing time under his belt when no one expected him to be there. And then look at what happened with him in 2025. So Jasson Dominguez has the full season of it under his belt. I say full season, even though he's like benched the last month, but you know what I mean? So he has the full season under his belt. I loved that he was the most supportive teammate for someone who was basically 100%. Like, you're not going to play for the last month. And he was perfectly fine with it, celebrating with his teammates, celebrating in the dugout whenever someone got a home run, just happy to be there, because I think he realizes that, you know, he knows he's going to get a chance to play, or he hopes to get a chance to play, and he hopes to show off what he can be for the Yankees. And I think having this year under his belt is going to be a big help for 2026.
He also apparently was like a puppy dog with Amed Rosario towards the end of the year, just following him around and seeing how he works, which I think is really positive, because Rosario's a veteran. For Dominguez to follow around like how he does things, really solid. Here's his projection, Stacey. So he played in 123 games last season. Here's his career so far based on what he's done in his career. Here's what his projections look like. He's projected to be on average a 248 hitter with a 331 on base, a 724 OPS, a 103 OPS plus, 17 homers, 63 RBIs, 32 stolen bases. If he does that for you every year, that's a really good left fielder.
Yeah.
That is a really good everyday left fielder. Yep. So I think that's great for him. At the end of the day, he's got every chance to be a 20 to 25 home run guy, a 70 to 90 RBI guy who steals 30 bases a year once he's a fully developed major leaguer. I'm sorry. I take that. Plus, he doesn't become a free agent until 2031.
Right.
Like, let's give him time to develop and become a confident player again. And, well, not again, just in general.
Yeah.
And tell me you don't take 250, 330 on base, 720 OPS, 103 OPS plus, 20 homers, 80 RBIs.
Yeah.
That you love that. So, and he's 23 on opening day. Let's give it time. That's my only thing, is I don't think this is a guy you trade yet. No. I'd entertain trading Spencer Jones this offseason when his value is at its ultimate highest. And, you know, pray that when he gets to the major leagues, he's a strikeout or home run guy, and
right.
You're losing one of those.
Right. And that he's not, you know, performing really well against the Yankees.
Which I'm sure he will.
Right, because that's usually what happens. But it's too bad that Amed Rosario can't teach Dominguez to hit from the right side, because that would be awesome if he could hit from the right side too.
True.
Yeah, even though wasn't the Oakland game the game where he did hit really well from the right side, was like the only time all season.
But the power is there. That's the thing. Like, and people say that a lot of times with the UCL, the power takes a while to come back batting wise because you're afraid to extend.
Sure.
So that could be a thing in his head too, where he's just afraid to fully extend. But we know the power is there. It was there in the minor leagues, and we're sure it's there, and it'll come in the future. He is not going to be a 10 home run guy throughout his entire career.
Which elbow was it? Would that affect the right side batting?
It doesn't matter, because either way you're kind of extending.
True.
So it's just that movement in the elbow that you're kind of more afraid of.
Right. Because I was going to say,
I don't remember if it was his throwing elbow or not. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
But it's kind of irrelevant when it comes to batting. It's more of a throwing thing that becomes an issue with.
Yeah, and that would make more sense, the throwing part. But he has left field under his belt. He'll work on it in the offseason. He'll work on it, hopefully, in the winter league. And I think we should expect, I don't think this is bold of me, but I think we should expect a better Jasson Dominguez in 2026 with a full year under his belt.
Agreed.
All right. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. If you're on YouTube, here's your QR code. Use your phone to join the Insiders Club that way. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to any trades and signings that happen. You also get top priority on Fan Mail Friday in the Insiders Club. During the season, we send you lineups and roster moves and any breaking news, so you don't have to check social media. That will also be in effect during the offseason. Any signings that are done, any trades, any firings, who knows what's going to happen in the offseason. There's a 14-day free trial. Coming up next, is it time to deal Luis Gil? I did not mean to rhyme, but I did. We'll talk about it next.
Let's be honest. Most of us can't name our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. Between our 401ks, savings, and investments, it's very easy to lose track. And that can mean leaving plenty of money on the table. That's why I started using Monarch. It's an all-in-one personal financial tool that helps bring your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. It helped me organize my accounts, track my spending, and get a better handle on my investments without having to touch a spreadsheet. I love that I can review everything with my partner, see our shared goals, and make a better financial decision together. Plus, Monarch's visual dashboard and smart tools makes it so much easier to understand where my money's going and how to make it work harder for me. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, where every day we make decisions, but on PrizePicks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. Playing PrizePicks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to your football Sundays. You just pick more or less on player projections like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon's rushing for a touchdown, and you're in the game. Now, I love how quick it is. You can make your lineup in just under a minute, and my favorite part is that PrizePicks just add the stacks feature. So if I want to ride with a player, I can select their passing yards, rushing yards, touchdowns, all available in one singular lineup. It's also fun to follow other players in the lineup and copy their lineups with one click. And the new injury reboot feature, if your player leaves early and doesn't return, it won't count against you. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right.
Every week we do Fan Mail Friday, and every week we ask you to ask us questions. But this time we're also asking you to leave us comments, and you can do that on YouTube. Go to our channel's page, click on the post tab, and you will see the latest post that I left. Last check, there were 10 comments and questions, so you guys are doing a very good job, but you have until Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time to get them in.
Bingo. Keep asking, because we're looking forward to these fan mails over the off season. Let's expand on it. Ask us crazy questions. We're looking forward to it. I got a theory, and I'm going to sit here and come right out and say it. I think they should trade Luis Gil. I think now is the time, and I think right now they can get a lot of value back for him and upgrade on the team in other places that they want to. Let me just phrase one thing out here. Their trades are going to have to be creative this offseason. We know there are somewhat financial implications with the team. Hal doesn't want them going over a certain mark generally in every offseason, which means if Brian Cashman wants to be in the business of signing a Cody Bellinger, of signing a Kyle Tucker, of signing a Trent Grisham, he's going to have to free up money somehow. Not necessarily when it comes to Luis Gil, but there are other players we will discuss in the future that they could potentially move on from that will pertain to. So trading guys creates more flexibility and allows you to move other guys around. It's all kind of a fluid thing. We don't know what the roster is going to look like come February when spring training starts. Starting pitching is not the weak link in this team. It's not. It's probably their strength going into next year. I am discussing their starting staff, Stacey. Let's look at it from where it should be in July.
Okay.
And from
I was going to say
from July to October. I'm not concerned with what it looks like in April. I'm just not. If guys are healthy from All-Star break to the end of the year, that's what I care about. So right now, that starting staff looks like Garrett Cole, Cam Schlittler, not in this order, Carlos Rodon, Max Fried, and Luis Gil. That is a gluttony of riches when it comes to a starting pitching staff. That is a really, really, really good major league starting pitching staff, which means you can either go into the year with all 5 of those guys and make them your 5 starters throughout the year, which is pretty awesome. Or you can move one of those guys and use him to upgrade in other places where you can around the lineup, which I think is the move to make. And you're not trading Garrett Cole. It's one of the greatest pitchers of all time. He's a future Hall of Famer. And he doesn't want to go anywhere. He has a full no trade clause, and he makes almost $40 million a year. There's no moving him. You're not trading Max Fried after coming off a top 3 Cy Young performance in his second year in his contract. You're not trading Carlos Rodon coming off of an injury, making $35 million a year. And you're not trading Cam Schlittler, who's one of the top young arms in all of baseball. Who's the odd man out? It's Luis Gil.
Clark Schmidt.
Or Clark Schmidt coming off of an injury who they're not going to move either. Exactly. Yeah. Luis Gil's coming off a season 2 years ago where he was the American League Rookie of the Year and he should have been an all-star. Wasn't selected to the all-star game. I don't know how he wasn't, but he should have been an all-star. It was an all-star caliber year. Everybody knows that. He's also under team control until 2029. That's also massive for a team that could potentially want to upgrade and get him. It was a down year last year. I think everybody would admit that. He was coming off of an injury, and we can also acknowledge that coming off of an injury, this is a theme throughout baseball the last couple of years. Coming off of an injury, pitchers seem to, when you get hurt in spring training and come back later, you're never the same guy throughout the entire year. It's just Garrett Cole a couple of years ago when he missed the first month, came back, had like a 3.1 ERA, wasn't the same pitcher that he normally is. This kind of happens with guys often. So you're talking about a player 1 year moved up to Rookie of the Year, top end of the rotation stuff, under control for 3 more seasons. Why would teams not want him? I think on most teams in the major league, Stacey, right now, he's either at the top of your staff, or if you have a good staff, he's at worst your number 3. Right. Which is a guy that potentially has a lot of value. Also, but let's just, assume the Yankees are going to make the playoffs next year, which, I mean, why would they not unless there's catastrophic injuries, whatever. Where is Luis Gil starting? Right now, it's hard to find a start for your 4th starter in the postseason. Where is he starting in a playoff game? Is there any there's no scenario ever where Luis Gil starts a playoff game over Garrett Cole, Max Fried, or Carlos Rodon. Right. Now, maybe there's a scenario where Cam Schlittler has a bad year and Luis Gil has an otherworldly year where he starts over Schlittler. But I think also after Schlittler's performance in the postseason this year, odds are Schlittler's going to be starting in a postseason game next year. So where does he fit in the rotation for the postseason? And if you're in World Series or bust mode, then your 5th starter, as long as your 5th starter goes out there and gives you Clark Schmidt, which is like a 3.8 ERA and keeps you in games, that's all you need is a 5th starter because he's not going to play in the postseason anyway. So I think he's got a ton of value. Not a lot of value for the Yankees as a number 5 starter, but a lot of values for a team that could potentially be acquiring their ace or their number 3. It keeps a lot of teams bidding for him if you open up on the trade market because who isn't going to want to be involved? He makes no money. He's under team control for 3 more years. If you have aces on your staff, he's your number 5, which is a great luxury. And if you don't have aces on your staff, he's now your ace. The only team that I would think that would not have any interest in him is the LA Dodgers, which the Yankees have no interest in doing business with anyway, because why would you help them out? Right. So I don't see a team in the major leagues that wouldn't be interested in him, meaning it creates a bidding war, which is exactly what you want, because if you get teams bidding for him, the prospect pool or the trade, the major league value pool that you want is going to go up and up and up, and the package gets bigger and bigger and bigger for a player like Luis Gil. It's a luxury they have him and a luxury they developed him. Let's also state this. Let's say the biggest fear in the world is that the best you'll ever see of Luis Gil is the first half of 2 seasons ago. Let's say that's the best Luis Gil you ever see. And if you're out there rolling your eyes on the bus on the way to work, wherever you are listening to this show, we've seen plenty of pitchers be that. Right out of the gate, they're awesome, and then all of a sudden they're never the same guy. So if that's the case, wouldn't you rather move him now where his value is at its ultimate highest? He's got plenty of team control. He's got ace level stuff. He's a Rookie of the Year, removed a year and a half ago of pitching. I think that this is a guy that you should move right now. And because you can upgrade at other positions on the field, it is a great guy to potentially move on from right now because you get a lot back for him.
I think you've changed my mind.
I just think again, you want to upgrade your farm system? Yeah. You can get a ton back for him. True. You can also get major league players right now. Like you can go out there and say, like, here was a scenario that I thought of, right? Jazz Chisholm Jr. is going to want a contract. Probably this offseason because he's going into a free agent year. And he's coming off of a 30-30 year. This is a good time to trade Jazz. And we'll break that down in a future episode coming up. But this is a great time to think of moving on from Jazz this offseason. Say there's a second baseman you love out there. You can trade Luis Gil for him, move Jazz for nothing, and teams will want Jazz coming off a 30-30 season. His value is at its ultimate highest. And that frees up the money to go sign Bellinger if Jazz isn't there. So there's a lot of maneuvering you're going to have to do. And I just think Luis Gil, there's nowhere where he starts a playoff start, and he's got so much value for so many other teams out there. It's the perfect time to move Luis Gil.
All right, well, coming up next, the Angels have a new manager. It's Kurt Suzuki, and that felt like it came out of nowhere.
It did.
And then another thing came out of nowhere. Suddenly, Albert Pujols is a highly sought after managerial candidate. Where did that come from? We're going to discuss this all next.
What's up, guys? This NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you're not going to want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Now, I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, tried player props, and even follow the live lines during the games. Now, I love how this NFL Sunday is shaping up going into it. The Eagles could have a potential beatdown of the New York Giants looking for revenge. The Jets probably going to lose again. If you're a New York sports fan, not great for football. That's why you got to follow the whole league on FanDuel. It gives me so many ways to play. I can do whatever I want. Plus, it makes watching football even more exciting when you got a little action running on the games. Whether you're a casual fan or you love diving into all the stats, FanDuel can make the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com now to download the FanDuel app today and get started. This episode is also brought to you by Rugiet. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything, and we've all heard them before. It's just stress, I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support, and that's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet.com offers fast-acting doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rugiet makes getting started so much easier. You just connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online. There's no awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. And if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter. Visit rugiet.com/lockedonMLB to get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/lockedonMLB. And don't forget to use our code, one word, LOCKEDONMLB, so they know that we sent you. Rugiet, stop making excuses and start making moves. Stacey, you brought this up in the last segment, and I find it absolutely insane. So we get note last week that Albert Pujols is being considered for the Angels job. And I was a little skeptical on this too. I didn't know that he was a managerial candidate, but it also could have been one of those things where he had managed the Dominican Republic team recently. And maybe it was one of those things where, hey, he's a former Angel and he reached out and said, hey, I'm interested in this. And maybe they gave him a courtesy interview, right? That's what I kind of thought was happening there. Well, then it comes out Sunday that Albert Pujols is no longer being considered for the managerial position of the Angels. And I was kind of like, yeah, figures he's not going to manage at a major league level. They gave him a courtesy interview, and that was it. Well, then it comes out a few hours later that he's being considered for the Padres job. And then it comes out on Monday that he's being considered for the Orioles job. And then it comes out on Tuesday that the Angels are hiring Kurt Suzuki as their manager. What? Weird news coming out of everywhere. And now it seems like it's a fait accompli that someone's going to give Albert Pujols a job. He's going to get now. If there's two teams looking at him, and three that are that I've already looked at, like three that he's already been looked at, two that are currently looking at him, that means other teams are going to ask to interview him also because they're going to want to know what's going up, and which means someone's hiring him. So he's getting a job this offseason. No one knew Kurt Suzuki was looking to become a manager, so I don't know where the heck that one came from.
Yeah.
This is weird.
Yeah. When I saw the Kurt Suzuki news, I felt like that, pun intended, came out of left field because I thought to myself, really? Out of all, I never heard anything about him maybe being a manager.
He's disappeared since he retired. Like
right.
No one's heard from him since.
Right. Like there was no like with, at least with Pujols, like you said, he was doing some coaching, but you didn't hear anything about Kurt Suzuki. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, the Angels hired him. It's like don't these, I don't know. Okay. Here's the thing. Don't these teams learn from previous mistakes that other franchises have
not
made?
The Angels.
Right. By hiring guys who haven't really managed on the major league level, that sometimes they might not do things that work out well for the teams that they're managing. I just like, it's funny that Dan Wilson became like the manager. They didn't even call him the interim manager for the Mariners. He became the manager. And you saw what happened in the ALCS. There were some questionable decisions that he made. We see it every year with Aaron Boone. I mean, we're how many years into his tenure and he still doesn't know how to manage a bullpen and doesn't know how to make moves correctly.
And Aaron Boone, by the way, he came from zero experience.
He came from the broadcast booth.
Yeah. And no coaching. Again, that's no coaching experience. Not at the high school level, college level, zero coaching experience, which concerns me a lot. Kurt Suzuki, the last 3 seasons apparently was a special assistant to the Angels GM, which sounds like a role out of The Office. So it's crazy that he was not working in the front office. He was a special assistant basically means the GM calls him once a week and says, "What do you think of this?" And Kurt Suzuki says,
"Right."
I like
how many special assistants do the Yankees have?
Trillion.
Right.
So they don't. It's kind of like a title.
They're not going to suddenly hire Andy Pettitte to be. Well, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if they hired Andy Pettitte to be manager, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I find very strange is this doesn't come out anywhere and now again, Albert Pujols is going to get a job, which to me, by the way, to circle back on the Angels, the fact that they chose to pass up on a former franchise icon that played for them means Albert Pujols is 100% becoming the next great manager in baseball because this is what the Angels do. They're going to pass up on their own former player to get the managerial job, and then he's going to become a superstar manager somewhere.
But I also think that, like with Boone, I think it's a mistake if you're a first-time manager and you haven't really managed at the major league level to be on a team like the Yankees, like Baltimore, like San Diego. Like Baltimore had a down year, but they're going to be back. San Diego's always making the playoffs or just almost making the playoffs. They're a pretty high-profile team. I feel like if you're coming from never managing, putting yourself in that position where it's high-profile might not be the greatest idea.
And the San Diego job is the most enticing. Like if I'm Pujols, I'm dying for that San Diego job because Melvin retired because of age. He just didn't want to do it anymore. It wasn't that he got fired or he just outright retired. So the Orioles have a vacancy for a completely different reason than the Padres do. You go to the Padres, you know there's talent already there.
Oh, yeah.
Plenty of it. They're completely willing to spend money every single year. They have a high payroll every year. Like you kind of know they're always in win now mode in San Diego. Whereas Baltimore.
And some of those guys are a discipline problem too. Maybe Pujols could whip them into shape because some of those guys.
But Baltimore, you aren't convinced they're going to spend money.
True.
Right? I mean, their farm system is built for sure, but you don't know they're always. You can't right now convince me they're in ultimate win now mode. I'm sure they'll tell you that, but I mean, show me the evidence they are. Because going into a year last year where you were coming off of all these players on rookie deals, you didn't spend money to make the team better. So I don't know how you could convince me they're in win now mode. And to me though, other teams are going to want to look at Pujols now.
Right.
Like when there's smoke, there's fire. If this was just the Angels looked at him and then that was it, I wouldn't think there's any merit to it. But 3 total teams now are looking at him. That means the Twins are going to give him a call. That means other teams with vacancies are going to give him a call.
And it's not like it's not like the Marlins. It's not like the Pirates. It's not low profile teams. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing too, teams that are already built and competitive are much more attainable jobs and attractive jobs. The Yankee job was so attractive because they already had a ready built roster. They had Aaron Judge. They had a lot of talent. They were coming off of an ALCS appearance.
Right.
So even if you're the worst manager in the world, they hired that guy. You can survive and win 100 games because, truth be told, a traffic cone could have won 103 games to that 2018.
I could have won 103 games in 2019.
That job becomes so attractive because if Aaron Boone took the Colorado Rockies job that year, or not that year, but let's just play a game. That whoever takes the Rockies job this offseason could get fired in their first year because the Rockies are going to be so dreadful. The roster is going to be terrible. And what can the manager really do? The manager can only really do so much with the talent that he's given. But you get a job like the Padre job, Stacey, you can wind up hanging around for a second and third contract like some people we know in this city have done just because your team is so stacked with talent and wins games despite whatever decisions you make, like bringing in Nestor Cortez in a World Series game. So that is why Albert Pujols could be the Padres manager for the next 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And even if he's a terrible manager, he can want to be that manager. So these jobs are so attractive for these good ready-made teams. We'll see what happens, but it is crazy how some of these former players just skyrocket into major league managers without ever managing before.
They like stumble into these jobs. Like, good for them.
I mean, it's the only sport where it happens, though.
Yeah.
In the NBA, if you retire, you gotta be coaching in the G League or in college somewhere, or to be able to work your way back up to the NBA. NHL, no former players jump into coaching jobs.
Oh yeah, like how many times do they, like, when an NBA opening happens and anyone mentions a college coach, it's almost like they poo-poo it, like, oh, well, he was just coaching college. Like,
yeah. And don't even let me mention the NFL. These guys retire and want to get into coaching. Stacey, they got to coach for they got to start over. They got to coach for like 20 years, going from offensive line coach at Manhattan Community College to then this coach and this coach and this coach. They got to work their way up the rankings just to get back to the NFL. So this is not a common. It's the only sport where guys just walk off the playing field and within 5 years are right back in a managerial position. It is wild, but that Padre job, I think, right now is the most attractive job in the major leagues.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. But that'll be an interesting thing to look out for over the next, I would say, week or so, because I don't think it's going to take that long for them to make
a
decision.
Question before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Right now, would you take Kurt Suzuki, Albert Pujols, or Aaron Boone as the next manager of the Yankees? If you had the option, would you trade Boone for either one of the other two?
Yes.
I would too.
Just have a new
face.
Person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean that. Just have a new face.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you guys for making Locked On Yankees your first listen every day. For your second listen, find the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night until the World Series champion is crowned. That'll only be until next week. Get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.